goes through, but then the customer doesn't get, that. So what more needs to be done to ensure that we have a really cohesive and efficient cashless system?
So I think one of the things we could do is to increase technology towards non-internet platforms. So I think a number of banks are coming up with stuff that you don't need internet for you to be able to move money between bank accounts and the likes. So also, like I said, is awareness. If when you're carrying about cash, there's a lot of risk. But it's just the fact that they just feel, especially the elderly groups, they just feel more comfort carrying cash around. Mm-hmm. So once there's increased awareness towards them that, okay, yes, there's risk carrying your money around. If you don't, these are the measures we put in place to prevent internet fraud or online fraud, then perhaps they'll be more at ease in using these platforms. So technology, we need to improve technology towards that space. We need to improve awareness. Then we need to continue to target the youth. They are the ones who are willing to use whatever technology, technology that is available to them. So yes, I think overall we're on the right path, but we just need to push harder.
Usman, let me let this conversation go at this time. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thanks for having me.
Usman Olubajo is an investment analyst with ARM Securities. Now, we talked a little bit about internet. Now, with Nigeria's broadband penetration at about 20%, there's room for improvement in order to connect the various educational institutions for, among other things, better learning. And this was according to the founder of Nigeria's Submarine Communications and Chief Executive Officer of Main One Cable, Funke Opeke. In a chat with Channel's business producer Tempo Ashajo on Tuesday, she explains how government policies can make way for improvement.
There's still a lot of room for growth and improvement in terms of broadband penetration in Nigeria. Obviously, the primary means of broadband access is still through our mobile phones, but getting broadband into our schools, our institutions, our homes on a permanent basis as a delivery platform for content still remains a challenge in this market. And the quality of service is certainly an issue, and the price that you pay for that quality is also quite high. I think the key challenge is infrastructure, and is a time in our country with the devaluation of the naira that makes the importation of the technology to create this infrastructure quite expensive as well. We need to find more creative ways, more shared infrastructure, clearer strategy in terms of how we're going to get this infrastructure to all nooks and corners of the country, the rural areas, so that the people who live in those areas can benefit from this technology revolution that's sweeping through the world as well. So I think infrastructure deployment is still key. We need more incentives, more enablement of the private sector, because it's the private sector that's going to deploy this infrastructure and ensure that it is put to productive use. And I think there's just still a lot more work to be done in that area to bring broadband to the masses in this country.
In terms of percentage, what is penetration like at this time? Because I know at the point we weren't even up to 10%.
I think we're beyond 10%. I think the latest numbers I've seen from the NCC say it is closer to 20%. But why? The question I would ask is, why are we limiting something that could add value to just 20% of Nigerians? So the objective is to bring it to a lot more Nigerians. The broadband plan, the National Broadband Plan, sets goals that have broadband reaching more people over time. I believe that number is 30% by 2018, and obviously even further penetration beyond that. So we still have some work to do.
I'll let you go, ma'am. How are you now coping with the right-of-way challenge? Have you been able to come by that?
I think building infrastructure is still a challenge, getting those rights of ways, because we have to work with various government agencies. But there is more understanding of the requirement to enable services to the population at large, and I think government agencies are becoming more cooperative in facilitating that.
So there's still a lot of work needs to be done. But then let's quickly remind you of some of the stories that we're tracking at this time. Africa Finance Corporation today announced Dr. Joseph Nana, a deputy director at the Central Bank of Nigeria, as a replacement of Dr. Sarah Alade on the board of the leading Pan-African multilateral development finance institution. A statement issued by the AFC says the change takes effect as Dr. Alade retires from the central bank as a deputy governor. Dr. Alade was representing Nigeria's central bank on board of the Africa Finance Corporation headquartered in Lagos. Dr. Nana has over 30 years' experience as an economist and banker. He was on the board of the International Monetary Fund and a consultant to the Nigerian government to the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. Also on tap for us, Nigeria's Debt Management Office will today list the FGN savings bond on the Nigerian Stock Exchange and close Wednesday's trading session. At its first auction for the savings bond, the Debt Management Office announced total subscription at an estimated 2 billion naira. We'll be talking more about that in just a bit with Obianuju Nsofo, who is an investment analyst with AfriInvest. And of course, you know where the exchange rate is. The Central Bank of Nigeria yesterday set a new naira rate of 362 naira to a dollar, an 11% increase from the rate it set in January for retail exchange bureaus to sell dollars to customers. Now, this week, the CBN would sell about $8,000 each to members of the association at 360 naira to a dollar. That's the same price which the Apex Bank set for commercial lenders on Tuesday. So they have been instructed to resell to consumers at a profit margin of 2 naira. At the end of trade yesterday at the parallel market was sold in naira, appreciating significantly to 375 naira to a dollar, and to the British pound it also appreciated to 465 naira, and to the euro it's at 400 naira. Let's also quickly run you through where we have the interbank rates. The naira to the dollar is at 306 naira 65 kobo, and for the British pound is at 400 naira 69 kobo. Business Morning continues after now. Stay with us.